Lin Moyu followed Antares' words and continued to release the bone fangs. And the mental power consumed is getting bigger and bigger. With the existence of a comprehensive connection talent, it doesn't have to worry about the consumption of mental power at all. All the mental power consumed will be apportioned to each summoned object. At the moment of consumption, the mental power will be replenished. Lin Moyu can use his mental power unscrupulously. When the mental power consumed by each skill reaches 3 million, the number of bone fangs has exceeded 100,000. The power and speed have been greatly improved, and Lin Moyu can't see clearly even with the eyes of the soul. All I could see was the fangs of the skeleton flickering from the ball of light at the fingertips, and then disappeared without a trace. This speed is more than 100,000 meters per second. It may have reached 1 million or 10 million meters per second. Too fast, too fast. As for power, Lin Moyu probably has a judgment. Although it can't be seen, the space where the skeleton's fangs pass will leave faint traces. The space seems to be torn, but not completely torn. A deep scratch was left. From this point, it can be shown that the power of the bone fangs is definitely not weak. It is close to a high-level god-level professional. Lin Moyu was waving his skills, and Antares, who told Lin Moyu not to stop, closed his eyes. It is not sleeping, but sensing something. Lin Moyu could feel that the soul power belonging to Antares was fluctuating violently. Then a huge eye, the third eye, appeared on Antares' forehead. Divine Dragon Wisdom Eye. Just like the universal language, everyone can understand it. But the fellow villagers still use their own dialect. After going to the big world, Lin Moyu will also do as the Romans do. Antares replied, there are no spells that carry laws, but they are very rare. And these spells are very powerful spells. Lin Moyu said, then how to enhance the soul skills? No, is it the law in the spell? Antares shook his head, you can only comprehend it by yourself. The law is a bit mysterious. If you use this skill more and comprehend it more, it may be enhanced. And I feel that instead of comprehending other laws, it is better to comprehend the law of immortality. Why? The law of immortality is the law of your profession, much stronger than the law of lightning. Lin Moyu also knows that his own profession is dealing with undead creatures. Understanding the law of immortality is naturally the best. Of course, Lin Moyu still has an ambition, he doesn't want to give up the law of time, if possible, master it together. Lin Moyu said, I will study it carefully, my soul power is still rich, and I should be able to move another skill star core. Antares Long's eyes lit up, and he became energetic all of a sudden, go and move, I will continue to kill later. Madman. Lin Moyu didn't bother to talk to this guy, the power of his soul moved slightly, and entered his own soul world. In the soul world, the star-level spell representing dead wings is like a ball of fire, high above, and 5 planetary-level spells are revolving around it. Not far away, Bone Fang, which is also a stellar spell, seems to be a lonely one. In the soul space, the power of the soul pervades. In order to maintain these skill cores transformed into spells, a huge amount of soul power needs to be continuously consumed. Only when the soul power is rich, can it be transported in the skill space again. Now that Lin Moyu's soul power has been enriched, he thinks he can move another skill star core. Lin Moyu rushed into the skill space again like a bandit, and quickly locked on the nearest skill star core. The power of the soul wrapped it and dragged it out. Backquote, it's more difficult than last time. Because the number of skill star cores has decreased, the space binding force has changed accordingly. But it still couldn't stop the bandit like Lin Moyu, who dragged it to the outside of the skill space. The binding force of the skill space wanted to stop Lin Moyu, but he seemed so helpless. Half a day later, the skill star core was dragged away from its birthplace and entered another strange environment. Along the fixed route, Lin Moyu transported the skill star core into the soul world with great proficiency. After finding a suitable place to fix it, the soul force rushed in desperately. The skill star core also seems to be aware of its own destiny, and cooperates perfectly with Lin Moyu to devour soul power wantonly. It seemed to be really hungry, and it ate happily. Eat, eat, no matter how much you can eat, I can afford it. Lin Moyu is not feeding soul power at all, but, Nuo Zhaohao, is plugging. He disregarded his own soul's ability to bear, and was unscrupulous. He stuffed it happily, and he also ate the skill star core happily. The light began to become stronger and brighter. Kill me. Okay. Come on. A cheap and invincible voice sounded, and what responded to him was an even more shameless voice. Antares slapped Lin Moyu with excitement. This time there is no need for dragon's breath, it has changed another method. That feeling is like trying to use all kinds of killing methods. Anyway, Lin Moyu couldn't kill him, and Antares didn't need to have any scruples. Slap after slap, Lin Moyu died again and again, only to be reborn in the purple light of talent. Antares urged, "Can you do it, soft-footed man, hurry up and swell. Put it in, hurry up and stuff it in with the power of the soul, don't be afraid to burst it, you won't burst it." Antares screamed excitedly, unimaginably cheap. Lin Moyu thought of a sentence, there is no cheapest, only cheapest. The new skill star core starts charging. This is a new term that Lin Moyu came up with, very apartment. During the charging period, one person and one dragon continued to chat about the previously interrupted topic. Antares asked, "Where did I just say? You said there is a big difference between the two methods." Lin Moyu rolled his eyes at this guy, obviously knowing that this guy did it on purpose. At the level of Antares, how could he forget what he said? Antares continued with a dry smile, "Let's talk about the first method first. Let this small world be fully exposed in the big world, and the benefit of doing this will allow the small world to bathe in the laws of the big world. The baptism of the laws of the big world will last for hundreds of years. As the master of the world, you can easily understand the laws during this period. This is the preferential treatment of the big world for the new small world." Lin Moyu asked in a deep voice, "Is that shortcoming? It is impossible for everything to have advantages without any disadvantages. With so many advantages, there must also be disadvantages." Antares continued, "The shortcomings are also obvious. After the exposure, this small world will lose the protection of the laws of the big world. The master of the world can compete for substitutions. How many strong people will come over at that time? I don't need to say more. The newly promoted small world is like a delicious meat bun, everyone wants to take a bite. As the side of the world, Lin Moyu bears the brunt. Wanting to face the competition of strong players from all sides, Lin Moyu was not sure how to hold it. What's more, the safety of other people in the world must also be considered. The aftermath of the war will bring disaster to the entire world. What others want is the position of the master of the world, and what they want is the preferential treatment of the baptism of the law of the great world. Those foreign powerhouses don't care about the life and death of the native creatures in this world." Thinking of this, Lin Moyu shuddered. He could imagine what the world would look like without the protection of the great world law. This small world of his own is still too weak. Now under the protection of the law of the big world, there is a strong and solid barrier outside the small world. It is very difficult for other powerhouses to invade. The world can only be invaded by some special methods. Only in this case, the small world has a little power to protect itself. Seeing Lin Moyu's solemn expression, Antares continued, "If you choose this path, I can help you guard the world. With me here, it's no big deal to keep you safe." Lin Moyu can understand what Antares means, and it's okay to guarantee his safety, but it's hard for others to say. If there is a real war, the aftermath alone is not something ordinary people can bear. It is not impossible for some strong people to destroy the world even if they cannot get it. Lin Moyu asked, "How do other small worlds get promoted?" There are various methods, but generally speaking, wars are unavoidable. There are also some small worlds that are located in remote places, and no one was discovered when they were promoted. After 100 years have passed, the baptism of the laws of the big world has passed. No one will come to grab it. Out of the way location. This world of his own is obviously not. This has not been promoted yet, but it has already been targeted. And it's not just one race that's being targeted. The forces of the Soul Clan, Demons, Dragon Clan, and the old man riding the green bull. Lin Moyu feels that his own world is already a sweet pastry in the eyes of others. What a headache. The question is, the world hasn't been promoted yet, how did others find out? Facing Lin Moyu's question, Antares laughed contemptuously, "Then you have to ask those guys from the previous era. It's useless to talk about it now. Let me tell you about the second option. If you make the second choice, then you will leave the world by yourself and enter the big world alone. In this way, you will lack the baptism of the laws of the big world, which is not good for your growth, and of course there is no harm. The advantage is that this world can still be protected by the laws of the great world, and the people in this world can also be safe. Besides, you have become the master of the world, which can further enhance the security of the world. You will naturally understand it in the future. You can wait until you are strong enough to protect the world in the future, and then promote the world. Antares clearly explained the advantages and disadvantages of the two methods. There are advantages and disadvantages, and everything is left to Lin Moyu to choose. Lin Moyu didn't think about it for too long, and already had an answer. There are people in this world who need to protect themselves, and they cannot be put in danger. I am not a great saint, even I kill without blinking an eye, and I am never soft on the enemy. There are demons, dragons, gods, and humans who died under his own hands. As long as you become your own enemy, you can kill him mercilessly. But in the same way, this world also has its own relatives and friends. Don't allow them to be hurt either. I know what to do. Lin Moyu already had the answer. Antares seemed to have guessed Lin Moyu's choice. Okay. As he spoke, he slapped Lin Moyu again. 4 times in a row, activate talent. This time, Antares did not yell, and Lin Moyu remained silent. After taking 4 consecutive shots, a purple light rose from Lin Moyu's body, and his talent was activated. After 3 rounds of this, the skill star core was finally full. It has turned into a mass of flames, from an ordinary skill star core to a perfect star level spell. Antares reappeared in Lin Moyu's soul world. At the moment when the star level spell really took shape, the little black dot in the Big Bang was what it wanted to see very much. Lin Moyu also wanted to take another look, although he only had a moment of youth and couldn't see anything. But that feeling, he has to remember. Antares told him, remember first, there will be no mistakes. The fireball exploded, shining brightly. Lin Moyu saw the little black dot in the center of the explosion again. The small black dot only lasted half a second. Lin Moyu focused his attention infinitely, and extended this half second as much as possible. Half a second was short, Lin Moyu still didn't see anything. But this little black spot has infinite attraction to him. Not only for him, but for everyone else. Antares squinted his eyes and looked obsessed. Lin Moyu knew that this guy must have discovered something. Antares said that that is what all strong men want to see. It's just that there are too few opportunities to see. He provided such an opportunity, and Antares seized it. Hope this helps Antares. Lin Moyu would be really happy if he could really help Antares. Looking at the stars that have already risen, the soul trembles violently. That oppressive feeling resurfaced again. Great World Rune. Lin Moyu gritted his teeth, feeling like he wanted to eat people. Big World Runes started again. Needless to say, this nascent, seemingly perfect star-level spell is also unable to carry the law. The Great World Rune uses a method that he cannot understand to limit his growth. This feeling is very annoying, but there is no way. Fortunately, because the World Runes cannot suppress the laws carried by the spell itself. Throw away the unhappiness in your heart and check out this new star-level spell. Bone Prison, Fusion 100%, bind the enemy and cause paralysis. Enemies who are bound cannot act to counterattack. The number and time of bound enemies are determined according to the mental power consumed. Skeleton Prison, Lin Moyu often used this skill when he first acquired it. At that time, his combat power was not strong, and he needed to control the enemy in various ways. Whether it is chasing down the enemy, controlling the rhythm of the battle, or interrupting the enemy's skills, the role of the Bone Prison is very obvious. Later, as the enemy became stronger and stronger, the strength of the skills began to be unable to keep up. And as the combat power continues to grow stronger, the fighting methods have become more and more open and closed, and the frequency of using the Bone Prison has become less and less. In the last few battles, this skill has not been used at all. Lin Moyu always believes that there are no useless skills, only useless professionals and unsuitable scenes. The temporary uselessness of the Bone Prison does not mean that it will always be useless in the future. Finally, now the Bone Prison has been transformed from ordinary skills into spells, and it is still a star-level spell. Even if it cannot carry the law, it is still very powerful. Skill level is no longer its limit, only mental power is its limit. As long as there is enough spiritual power, the enemy can be completely restrained. What Lin Moyu lacks most is spiritual power. As the skill becomes a spell, the damage reduction feature also disappears, and it will no longer affect the damage to the enemy. Imagine how cool it is to control the enemy and strike when the enemy can't resist. Lin Moyu wished he could control the Dragon Emperor now and beat it hard. But Lin Moyu also knew that Huang could not be so easy to control. I'm afraid that if I use all my mental power, it will be difficult to effectively control it. After all, the level difference between the two sides is too far. I am only level 80, and the Dragon Emperor is already level 99, half a step to the peak of Super God. Take half a step forward, and that is the genuine Super God level. With that unknown giant axe in hand, its combat power is infinitely close to Super God level. As well as the black hole-like skills that appeared at the end, Lin Moyu felt that with these two skills alone, it would be very difficult to beat the Dragon King. It's not an attack skill, even if it can't carry the law, it won't have much impact. Lin Moyu comforted himself. In the face of the tyrannical and mysterious Great World Rune, he has already won once by luck. This time, the Great World Rune didn't give him another chance, and directly blocked his spells, making it unable to bear the law. In this way, even a perfect star-level spell is a little more powerful than ordinary skills. Compared with those spells that carry laws, they are much weaker. Antares seemed to be still feeling, and did not open his eyes. Lin Moyu didn't bother it either, silently watching the new residents in the soul world. The star representing the bone prison is also a lonely star, without planet-level spells surrounding it. But this is also a normal thing. In Lin Moyu's vision, it will sooner or later convert all planetary-level spells into star-level spells. The fusion of all spells has been increased to 100%. Even the big world rune can't stop myself from doing so. What's going on? Lin Moyu discovered that the two stars representing the bone prison and bone fang were approaching. There seems to be a glimmer of connection between the two parties. Lin Moyu saw that there seemed to be wires of fire protruding from the two stars, connecting with each other like tentacles. They approach each other, and after reaching a certain distance, they start to rotate around each other. The speed of rotation is getting faster and faster, forming a gorgeous picture. It's a double star. Suddenly Antares sighed. It didn't know when it woke up, and it was looking at the two constantly rotating stars with piercing eyes. Lin Moyu asked, "What is a double star?" Antares's eyes shone brightly. Each star represents a kind of spell. When two stars with similar natures approach each other and are attracted by each other to form a connection, a kind of, I am in you and you in me, is formed. The pattern is called a double star. Once the double stars are formed, the effect of spells will be greatly increased. With one technique, the effects of two techniques can be achieved, but only one sleepy technique is consumed. The most important thing is that the two spells can carry two laws at the same time, and explode together. Having said that, Antares suddenly closed his mouth. It realized that Lin Moyu couldn't carry the law, and he just mentioned Lin Moyu's pain point. Lin Moyu didn't care, he grasped the point from Antares' words. I want to do an experiment. Lin Moyu is very curious about the double star spell and wants to know the real effect. Antares obviously wanted to know too, so he agreed without saying a word. Antares reached out and grabbed a few monsters. The levels ranged from high to low. The low ones were only level 70, and the high ones reached level 80. Without exception, these monsters all come from the lower space. Those low-level monsters in the upper space are not even qualified to be experimental subjects. Facing Antares, these monsters could only tremble uneasily, unable to resist. That appearance, like meat on a chopping board, has no other possibility except waiting to die. The law of survival of the jungle, at this very moment, is truly revealed. Lin Moyu locked on one of the monsters and used magic. 0. Tell, Bone Prison. This monster, which was still struggling restlessly, suddenly became stiff. A layer of white bones appeared on its body, and it was paralyzed by the bone prison as if petrified. Almost at the same time that the bone prison was generated, the bone fangs erupted. A bang smashed the monster to pieces. Tens of thousands of skeletal fangs passed through the monster's body like erupting in the monster's body, tearing the monster into pieces. Interesting. The corners of Lin Moyu's mouth raised slightly, and the slight unhappiness just now was swept away. He could feel that the fangs of the skeleton erupted from the prison of the skeleton. And it exploded not only at one point, but at various points all over the body. The bone prison became the carrier of the bone fangs. While controlling the monster, it attacked the monster like spikes. Double star technique. This is what Antares calls the double star spell. Using one skill can form the effect of two skills, and only consume one mental pressure. He only needs to use the bone prison to control the monster, and the bone fangs will attack at the same time. In this way, the practicability of the bone prison is greatly improved. Moreover, the most troublesome hit rate problem of skeletal fangs seems to have been improved. Try multiple targets. Lin Moyu used the same mental power to lock multiple targets with his soul. Casting spells, several monsters simultaneously appeared in the bone prison. The controlled monster was unable to move at the same time, and a layer of white bones appeared on its body. Then there was several bang bang bangs, and the snow-white bone fangs roared out, shooting through the monster's body, tearing him apart again. It was still an instant kill without any suspense. However, it is still different from the previous skills. With the same mental power, several monsters were controlled, and the number of bones and fangs decreased accordingly. The total amount remains the same, and the number of attacks each monster receives decreases. Bone fangs are evenly distributed across skills. Then what if you attack with bone fangs? Lin Moyu points a finger, sleepy method, the bones are sharp. The white light ball exploded, and the fangs of the skeleton flashed past. White bones appeared on the monsters hit by the fangs of the bones, and the bone prison completely controlled them. Conversely, the effect is the same. As long as it is hit by a spell, it will trigger the second spell. It is indeed amazing. Try it on me. Antares narrowed his eyes and volunteered to act as the experimental corpse again. Ordinary monsters can no longer test the strength of their skills. Antares consciously became a test subject. Its existence, Lin Moyu can't shake it, it's perfect to serve as an experiment. Lin Moyu uses the bone prison on Antares. This time Lin Moyu used all his mental strength and didn't hold back a bit. It knows that even if it uses all its mental power, it can't hurt Antares. The level difference between the two sides is as far away as heaven and earth, and it is difficult to measure at all. The 3 million mental power was consumed in an instant. Antares was not restrained, the bone prison just flickered on Antares, and it collapsed in less than 0.1 seconds. It can be said that it did not play any role. But in this 0.1 second, the bone prison that had obviously collapsed still burst out with bone fangs. Double star spell, even if the restraint fails, it will not affect it. The skeletal fangs exploded on Antares' body, and the skeletal fangs hit Antares' hard dragon scales, 733, making a fierce impact sound. Antares realized it carefully, and said in a deep voice, "Very good technique, control and attack." If the enemy's strength is weak, as long as it is restrained, it will be instantly killed. The attack power has almost reached level 90, enough to instantly kill a level 90 professional. Antares' feelings are similar to those of Lin Moyu. The power of the bone fangs depends on the mental power consumed by oneself, and the current mental power of oneself is only 3 million. If the skill of strengthening soldiers is used, the mental power can be greatly increased, and the power can also increase accordingly. Moreover, there is an additional damage bonus of 500%, so it is not a problem to instantly kill a level 92 god level. With this skill, even without using the summoning skill, Lin Moyu is still capable of fighting a god level professional. Antares sighed, "It's a pity, such a good skill can't carry the law." Lin Moyu smiled, but did not speak. Not being able to do so now doesn't mean it won't be possible in the future. He didn't believe that the runes of the Great World were incomprehensible, otherwise how would he explain it for the first time? There is always a way to solve a problem. Lin Moyu asked, "Since there are 2-star spells, are there any 3-star, 4-star, or 5-star spells?" Antares nodded, "Yes, I have seen 3-star and 4-star spells, and I have only heard of 5-star spells, but I have never seen them. Even in the big world, there are not many people who have 5 perfect level star spells and have similar nature." Lin Moyu asked, "How many stars can there be?" "There are 10 stars in the legend, but no one has ever seen them. It is just a legend, and it is impossible to do it in reality. If you have a chance to get a 5-star spell, you will be the best among the same level." Gone. In Antares' explanation, the more interconnected stars, the greater the power of spells. Especially after the 3 stars are connected to form a 3-star spell, the power will be greatly increased. Every time 1 star is added, the power can be doubled. Lin Moyu said with a smile, "I can't use the law." Antares shook his head, "That's okay, even if there are no rules, as long as you have enough stars, you can still crush your opponent." Lin Moyu let out a long breath, "I hope so, please send me to the Dragon World." "Are you still going to continue? Always have to fight it out." In the Dragon World, Lin Moyu appeared silently. In addition to the murderous look in the eyes, there is also determination. His work in the dragon world has not been finished yet, and he will continue. How could it be enough to slaughter only 2 cities? When the dragon clan came in, they slaughtered many cities. At that time, the human race suffered hundreds of millions of casualties. How many dragons did he kill, and where did he go? Gratitude must be repaid, and enmity must be avenged. Lin Moyu said that he has clear grievances and grievances. The undead wings spread out and chose a direction at random. With a shake of the wings, the body flew away like lightning. This is the wind element area, and the wind is everywhere. Lin Moyu came riding the wind, descending with a breath of destruction. A large city came into sight, and Lin Moyu was already in the city in the next second. When the defense system in the city found Lin Moyu, an outsider, the alarm immediately sounded loudly, and the formation was activated at the same time. But it was too late, Lin Moyu had already rushed into the city. The mighty soul spread out, locking thousands of dragons. White light appeared on the fingertips. Tell, prison. Using 3 million mental power, it was a full blow under normal conditions. The white light flickered in the city, and all the dragon people locked by Lin Moyu were paralyzed. White bones appeared on the body at the same time, and then bone fangs erupted from the white bones, tearing them to pieces. With one blow, thousands of dragon people died on the spot. Among them are high-level dragons and dragon warriors. Regardless of their level, the result is the same. Antares' evaluation is very objective. Lin Moyu's skill is enough to instantly kill a level 90 god-level professional. It also means that the power of this blow has reached level 90, which is the category of the Dragon King. No matter how powerful the dragon warriors are, they cannot stop the attack of the Dragon King. An attack by Lin Moyu did not scare off the dragon people. This is the big city of dragons. Hundreds of thousands of dragons live in the city, and a huge army is stationed there. A large number of dragon soldiers flew into the air and rushed towards Lin Moyu. This time, Lin Moyu did not summon the undead army. This time, he was going to kill the enemy with his own hands. With murderous intent in his eyes, Lin Moyu gave a soft drink. Julie, strengthen soldiers. 2 major techniques are launched at the same time. The 2 states unfolded at the same time, pushing Lin Moyu's combat power to the limit. The soul power is consumed rapidly, and the soul power of level 81 can be maintained for a full 12 seconds, which is twice as much as before. But Lin Moyu doesn't need to care about the time at all. As long as there are enough enemies for him to kill, the duration of the spell can be extended indefinitely. The attribute was pushed to the limit. The soul level of level 93 made Lin Moyu's attribute reach the 93rd level. Mental power broke through the 5 million mark, an increase of more than 70%. The powerful mental power greatly increases the power of spells. Lin Moyu bowed left and right, continuously casting spells and throwing out bone fangs. There is no need for soul locking or aiming. There are too many enemies in the city, he just needs to sweep and sweep. The 5 million bone fangs stimulated by mental force exceeded 200,000 after they exploded, covering a large area. The speed is so fast that it has reached the level invisible to the naked eye. Even Lin Moyu observed with a level 93 soul power, and could only see a faint trace. The space seems to have been scratched by a sharp object. Although it has not been broken, it has left countless traces. The attack of bone fangs is infinitely close to level 90. Even if the Dragon King of level 95 comes over, he will be extremely embarrassed when facing the bones and fangs. The dragon soldiers who just flew up fell like raindrops. On them, white bones appeared one after another. The bone prison is accompanied by the eruption of bone fangs, binding them firmly. Lin Moyu stood in the air, sweeping the entire city indiscriminately. Reminders of gaining experience jumped out like raindrops, and a steady stream of soul power poured in, transforming into the experience needed for leveling up. If this scene is seen by others, their eyes will definitely pop out. No one has ever been able to level up like this. Treat Dragon City as your own leveling ground. Treat Dragon World as a dungeon. The Dragon Warrior is an elite monster, and the Dragon King is a boss. The Dragon Emperor is naturally the biggest boss in this dungeon. In just a few minutes, the dragons in the city suffered heavy casualties. Joint force, strengthen soldiers. Both the 2 techniques have the effect of absorbing the enemy's soul and enhancing one's own soul level. Although the effect is not strong, Lin Moyu kills too much. The soul level can't help but move forward, gradually reaching the limit of level 93. The sound of dragon chant sounded in the air, and the Dragon Emperor rushed madly in the distance. Lin Moyu, damn you. You were too late. Lin Moyu chuckled, and when there was still 10,000 meters away, Lin Moyu pointed towards Long Huangyi. The Dragon Emperor's voice stopped abruptly, and the whole person appeared sluggish. The bone prison appeared on the Dragon Emperor. Then the white light exploded, and the fangs of the skeleton erupted. The Dragon Emperor let out a roar, and a terrifying aura of law exploded from his whole body, blocking the attack of the bones and fangs. However, Lin Moyu's attack was too sudden this time, which caught the Dragon Emperor off guard and suffered some skin trauma. The scales on his body were broken, his hair was scattered, and he looked very embarrassed. Lin Moyu used 5 million spiritual power, combined with the extra 500% damage of the powerful soldiers, and could only cause skin trauma to the Dragon Emperor. No law is flawed, it's okay to deal with the Dragon King, but it's almost meaningless to deal with the Dragon King who is half a step super god. With one blow, Lin Moyu also understood the limit of his skills. He grinned at the Dragon King and waved his hand. Undead wings shook, and Lin Moyu instantly disappeared without a trace. The Dragon King's pupils shrank suddenly, and it lost Lin Moyu's shadow again. Lin Moyu, bastard, you coward, bloody bastard. The Dragon Emperor yelled angrily, but Lin Moyu had already left Wanli. Soul O2 power is continuously supplied to undead wings, and the speed of undead wings has reached the limit. In just a few seconds, it flew tens of thousands of kilometers, almost crossing the dragon world. Lin Moyu came to a city again at an astonishing speed. He has no goals and doesn't need one. He came to slaughter the city because of the blood feud of the human race thousands of years ago. The domain god stone keeps turning, absorbing murderous aura. There is no murderous trouble, so Lin Moyu can always maintain a calm state. Facing the Dragon Emperor, he didn't love to fight at all, and retreated with one blow. With the power of the undead wings, cut off the soul lock, travel thousands of miles, and look for a new city. The new city is not big, and there are not many dragons living in it. Under Lin Moyu's sight, there are a large number of dragon soldiers in this city. This is a military city. Lin Moyu said softly, and the whole person appeared above the city, and the next second, a terrifying white light enveloped the whole city, and the whole city was filled with the breath of death. With a sharp whistling sound, the skeletal fangs swept across the city. Huge buildings collapsed one after another, and the bones and fangs burrowed into them like tofu. Even hiding under the ground more than 10 meters away was useless. The earth was riddled with holes, and the defense of the Dragon clan collapsed almost instantly. A large amount of soul power poured in, and the consumption just now was quickly replenished. 2 minutes later, a huge aura appeared in the far sky. It came sooner this time. Lin Moyu felt the breath of the Dragon Emperor from a distance. At the same time, a law shot from tens of thousands of meters away. Law is fast, Lin Moyu is faster. Undead wings shook, instantly cut off the soul lock, and disappeared without a trace. The law has no target and is empty. The law of stone carries great power, like a falling meteorite, leveling a hill in the distance. The Dragon Emperor was going crazy with anger. Looking at the devastated city, it roared wildly. Although the death of a dragon clansman is nothing to it. The dragon world is not big or small, and there are tens of millions of dragons in it. Hundreds of thousands of dead, or even millions, are no threat to the Dragon clan. But no matter how many dragons there are, Lin Moyu can't keep killing them like this. The news of Lin Moyu's massacre has spread throughout the Dragon clan. If this continues, the confidence of the Dragon clan will collapse. He roared with unwillingness, one after another, but to no avail. The Dragon Emperor's eyes changed, as if he had made a major decision. Holding the super god-level giant axe tightly with both hands, he raised it high. Recite the previous voice in the mouth. The Dragon clan is in trouble, and the seniors of the ancestors will come. The Dragon clan is in trouble, please come down from the ancestors. The Dragon clan is in trouble, please come down from the ancestors. The Dragon Emperor kept repeating these words, his blood was burning fiercely, and the phantom of the dragon outside him also became solid. The giant axe lit up, and complicated lines appeared on it. These lines constitute a formation. The Dragon Emperor activated the formation with his own blood, and his face also turned pale. Activating the formation requires a lot of blood, and this time it will do great damage to the Dragon King. The formation was finally completed, projecting brilliant light. In the light, a giant dragon appeared. A giant blue dragon, exactly the same as the elemental dragon that Lin Moyu had seen before. It exudes the breath of law, and the law also contains a strong personal will. This is a strong man who has integrated the law into himself. The giant dragon seemed to be dozing off. Hearing the call of the Dragon King, he lazily opened his eyes and glanced at the Dragon King. Miscellaneous blood dragon. There is a strong disdain in the words. The mixed blood dragon deeply stimulated the Dragon Emperor. But the Dragon Emperor didn't dare to attack. Instead it bowed and said in a low voice, "I've seen you, my lord. Come on, what's the matter?" The elemental dragon still looked lazy, looking down on the Dragon King. The Dragon Emperor swallowed his anger. "A freak has appeared here, which has caused our dragon clan to be greatly threatened." Freak? How weird. The elemental dragon seemed to have some interest, but only a few. The Dragon Emperor said, "He is a level 81 human race." What? A human race at level 81? The elemental dragon screamed, and his words were even more disdainful. What's the use of the 81 level human race? It can be sprayed to death in one breath. The elemental dragon said contemptuously, "Although you are only a mixed blood dragon, you are still a half-step super god. And you hold the dragon axe, which allows you to exert infinitely close to super god level combat power. You can't even beat a level 81 human race like this. What qualifications does this kind of waste have to ask for help?" The word miscellaneous blood dragon once again stimulated the Dragon Emperor. The Dragon Emperor took a deep breath. "It's not that I can't fight, it's that he doesn't fight with me. He has a skill, which is very fast and can cut off soul locks. He kept changing the city and slaughtering the city. Every time I chased him, he ran away." The elemental dragon laughed loudly. "There is such a thing." The Dragon Emperor said, "My lord, please act. I will kill this person. We conquered cities and looted land for the Patriarch. Although we were only cannon fodder, we worked hard without complaint." The elemental dragon waved impatiently. Okay, I see. I'll give you something that should solve him." The Dragon Emperor was overjoyed. "Thank you, my lord." Although he didn't know what level of existence the other party was, or even the name of the other party, Long 770 Gao knew that the other party was definitely stronger than himself. The appearance of a giant dragon is the second goal he has pursued in his life. The first goal is naturally the return of the dragon to its ancestors. But it also knows that it is impossible for the dragon to return to its ancestors, and at most it can evolve into an elemental dragon. If you want to evolve into an elemental dragon, you must go to Huolongqi. To go to Huolongqi, one must have enough meritorious deeds. It came here with a mission. The purpose is to destroy the human race, and to win this world for its own race, so that it can gain merit. In that way, you can enter the dragon transformation pond, not only have the opportunity to evolve into an elemental dragon, but also step into the super god level. Thousands of years ago, the human race and the devil joined forces to block its way. Thousands of years later, Lin Moyu stands in its way again. And after asking for help this time, even if it completes the task, its achievements will be greatly reduced. For whatever reason, it has hated Lin Moyu to the bone. It is not enough to calm the hatred in the heart if Lin Moyu is not crushed. The formation on the dragon axe was still in motion, and a jade-like bead emerged from the formation. The beads look somewhat similar to Antares Dragon Balls. Abyssal demons like to use magic stones, while dragons like to use Dragon Balls. Of course, it is not a real Dragon Ball, but a special material, which is made according to the appearance of a Dragon Ball. The Dragon Emperor held the Dragon Ball, and the power of the soul poured in, and he immediately understood its function. This one is called Ding Kongju, and there is a formation method recorded in it, which can lock the space, enough to trap a half-step super god. Once you're in it, it's hard to get out. There was a sneer on the Dragon Emperor's face. "God. Lin Moyu, you are dead."